Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a little while, but I am back with my, huge ass water bottle that now has my handprint indented into it from the amount of stress I experience holding on to this thing. But it's a very ergonomic design. Ergonomic is a great word. I love that word. It's been a little while. It's been maybe 2 months since I posted my last video, but I appreciate you guys being patient. I actually am back for good now, meaning like I'm gonna be very consistent on here. I wanna do so many different things. I've got so many cool ideas. I've got a lot of cool things coming up. But just to give you a little update of where I've been, I was actually in Atlanta, Georgia for a little while, because a lot of you don't know this, but outside of the fashion, I'm actually an actor. That's why I originally moved back to New York City before I ended up going to fashion school, because I wanted other outlets to express myself. But that's where I started. I'm an actor. I actually just did an episode of this show. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say what it is, but when it comes out, I will let you know. It's sort of like a Twilight Zone-y type of show where every episode is a different cast. It's gonna be on AMC. I've been on AMC before. I used to be on The Walking Dead. Some of you might know that, some of you might not. Who cares? I know. But I'm an actor and that's something I love to do. I actually was away for a little bit because I'd been going out for this show for a while, and I was actually about to move to Hawaii for 5 months to go shoot this show. But, part of acting is it comes with a little bit of heartbreak. I unfortunately got sick at the time, and because of that I couldn't make it and I had to get replaced. For what it's worth, acting comes with ups and downs and hardships and almost, and that's okay because I signed up for it. And, so far it's been a lot of fun. But now I get to come back here and I get to focus a lot of my energy back into this fashion stuff. I can't tell you what's happening, but next month I'm going to be partnering up with someone very interesting, and I'm going to be designing a complete collection. I'm actually going to invest myself into real design outside of my tutorials and all this, but I'm going to, give you a little bit of my creative energy, and I'm going to be doing a show of sorts. And I can't go into it too much because also it's something that I'm, I guess, legally obligated to not talk about. It's next month and it's going to be cool, and you're going to see some special designs, and I can't wait to give you more info about it because it's going to be really exciting people, fashion stuff, great stuff. Other than that, I'm happy to be back, and today I just wanted to give you guys this update that I just gave you, but I also want to show you around my space a little bit. Right now I've been working in my parents' garage because I left New York City when the pandemic hit, and I'm actually planning on moving to Los Angeles when this is all said and done because, it's warmer there, and LA sounds just great, so I'm gonna go give it a shot because I've always been in New York, guys. So with that, I want to show you around my studio space. I want to show you what kind of tools I use for fashion design, what kind of tools you might need, show you what machinery I'm working with. A lot of you ask what kind of machines that I use, so I've got a home sewing machine that I'll definitely let you know about because it's more affordable and easy to get around. But I also just got myself an industrial sewing machine, which is, the heavy-duty form of a normal sewing machine. Yeah, I feel like that was pretty obvious. I didn't need to say that. But yeah, just the different things I use. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's go take a little tour around the space I got, and thank you for coming back. Working on my ab structure. Strength. Also, just fun detail, it's snowing in New York City right now. My camera is currently just in the snow, so it's probably gonna break any minute now. But it's okay. But whoa! Look at this bamboo. Yeah, I got bamboo where I live, but it looks like a big old wave. Snow. Okay, all right, here we are. So this right here is my industrial sewing machine. I just bought it, and it hurt my bank account a lot. Yeah, oh boy. I bought this thing recently. This is what I used when I was ever working at a studio or interning and sewing samples, or at school. I would use an industrial sewing machine. So this heavy piece of metal is just an industrial sewing machine. It allows you to kind of work with any fabric. So if you're working with super thick fabrics, super light fabrics, whatever. But the difference between this and using this sewing machine right here, this home sewing machine that you all know about, and a lot of you ask me what it is. It's a Brother CS6000i sewing machine. It's pretty good. I've had it for a little while. You can't really handle super heavy fabrics on it, but it's pretty good. I've had it for a long time, and obviously, as you know, I've used it for everything, so it's great. And it also helped me avoid a lot of super late nights at school because, I'd rather just sit in my bed and sew rather than, going to school on the subway in New York City, because the subway is a place I would rather not be ever in my life, ever again. I got this thing recently. Like I said, it hurt me to spend on, but it's great. I love it. I can do anything on it. I sew a lot of foam fabric because I like working with like, you know, structured fabrics that allow me to make like art pieces and stuff, which I'll start doing a lot more on this channel soon. But yeah, I recently bought this JUKI industrial sewing machine. It's awesome. I don't recommend buying one of these if you're like just starting out, because it's expensive, and you know, you should really get into the habit of wanting to do it a lot. To the point where you're gonna need something like this to make what you want to make. So I got one of these, and you know, I'm gonna be making more stuff on it. So I'm looking forward to that. The next thing I'm gonna show you is my cork table, because it's you know, it's a good old table. Before we get to the man, why am I talking like that? Before we get to the cork top table that I use for all my patterning and stuff, ironing board. Pretty obvious that you should have an ironing board if you want to do this kind of stuff. But yeah, I recommend getting the chunky one, you know, like a big old long one. This is kind of average size, but it's a little bit bigger than average size. It just makes things easier when you want to, you know, iron down a whole piece of fabric, so that way you can fit most of it on the board in one go rather than having to move it all around and potentially drop it on the ground, or honestly drag it on the ground while you're moving things around. So I recommend getting a bigger ironing board if you have the space. If you don't, not a huge deal. But yeah, this is what I use. This right here, this is a sewing hand. This is for curves and stuff. If you're ever like trying to iron a, you know, like the neck of a button down, or the neck of a jacket, or just the armhole or something, you know, anything like with curves or weird angles or whatever, this thing is great because you can just pop it on here, shimmy it on, iron it down, and it makes everything a lot cleaner and better. This right here is for sleeves. Why am I talking like that? This right here is for sleeves, and you can do pant legs on it if you need to. You can't necessarily pull a fully sewn sleeve over this thing because obviously it's too wide. So that's why you get this thing, and you can pull that sleeve over here easily and get a nice flat iron on it. So I don't know how much these things are. I bought it a long time ago, but very useful. I recommend it. So I'm gonna break this thing if I keep hitting it. So just go buy it if you want it. Yeah, ironing stuff. Oh, back to the table. So this table right here, you can't really see it, but it's a cork top table. I don't really need to show you because I'm sure you know what cork looks like, and I'm sure you know what a table is. So this is a cork top table. It allows you to do stuff like this, you know, take a little pin and then poke it on in. You can kind of see what I'm doing there, but the point is that it's cork. If you're putting paper on top of it, you can always poke things through just so you can hold it down and hold it in place, especially when you're trying to trace patterns or just move things around without ripping anything. It makes your life a lot easier. You don't have to have, like, I got this thing custom built because I was like, man, I just need something good and I'm always going to use it and take it everywhere with me. So I splurged. I do this thing where I like to, you know, destroy the bank account that I have with money that I need to eat. But, you know, fashion is life, right? So I'm just gonna go over real quickly what kind of things you need to do fashion. You don't necessarily need this type of cork top table. You could just go buy like a cheap IKEA table for 20 bucks and then get some, what do you call it, cork roll off like Amazon or something, roll it across the top, hot glue it down, and then you've got yourself a fashion table. It's as easy as that. You can make it super cheap and affordable for yourself if you want to do that, and you got the space to have a little fashion table if you want. Or honestly, just buy one of those cheap like fold-up tables for like tailgating and stuff and put it on top of that. Whenever you're done, fold it down, toss it away, easy peasy. I'm gonna go over some stuff that I use. Obviously, as you know, patterning paper makes your life a lot easier. It's wide. You can always just kind of draw things on it and work with patterns on it. So I recommend, if you want to get into patterning, because you're gonna get into patterning a little bit if you watch this channel, go buy it. It's not too expensive. Just, you know, have a little bit of it around if you want to mess around with stuff. What you will also need for fashion design, or will make your life easier, clear rulers. Clear rulers are great. You can always see where your measurement's at. You can easily line things up, and that way you can you can always just see what you're working with. Clear ruler. This is a French curve right here. Can you see what I'm holding? There we go. Easier with the background on it. French curve. This allows you to kind of draw curves and draw necklines in on patterns. This right here is a ship curve. You don't necessarily need it, but having all kinds of curves makes your life a lot easier. So a ship curve. Made of plastic, very easy to buy. Right here, this is another. I could be wrong. I was always taught that this is also a French curve, just a longer one. I may be wrong. Oh yeah, it says French curve right there, so it must be a French curve. So I recommend getting one of these too if you're ever doing hips of pants. This is just a nice long curve to get you a more natural, you know, smooth hip line if you ever want to do it. If you want to get one of these, I'll recommend it. French curve made of metal. This an L square. This is so you can obviously square things off at a perfect 90-degree angle. I recommend getting this. This makes your life a lot easier. It has one long side if you ever need to connect two long points that, you know, this doesn't reach since this is shorter. But yeah, this is an L square. I recommend getting it. It makes your life a lot easier if everything is squared off perfectly, so you're never kind of like, you know, is this an 1/8 of an inch off, a 1/16 of an inch off? And I know those measurements sound so specific, but it matters because it can throw a whole thing off if, you know, if you're trying to be precise. So L square, boom. And not that you need them, but this is just a recommendation. It's nice to have, like, I think this is a yardstick. I'm just gonna say it's a yardstick. If it's not, y'all can call me a dummy in the comments. So yardstick, just to connect long points. You find yourself doing that a lot, so that way you don't have to like pair this ruler with another ruler that you have that's short just to get a long line. So yardstick, yeah, if you can do it, if you wanna, makes your life easier. And this is another French curve, smaller French curve, just for those medium amount of curves, you know, if you don't want to bust out the long one. I just was in school and just was told to buy them, so I did, and now I still have them. But yeah, French curves. Get them if you need them. Well, you might need them. Get them, whatever. Rule of fashion design that a lot of people will say, cutters will say it. I didn't always listen. I used to have these, and I would cut paper and fabric with them, so I guess I'm not the best example of what you're supposed to do. But nowadays, now that I know that, you know, cutting everything with one pair of scissors just dulls the heck out of them, I've got my paper scissors, just a basic, super cheap pair of scissors by Scotch, you know, like Scotch tape. I'm sure that's what Scotch means. Scotch tape brand makes these scissors. I use these to cut paper, only paper, never anything else. And I got these sexy scissors. These were like expensive. These were like 50 bucks for a pair of scissors. I never in my life thought I would be, you know, a person spending 50 bucks on a pair of scissors, but I did, so I'm gonna live with it. But they're amazing. These are Kai 7520s. Yeah, that's, nope, Kai 7250. They're Japanese made, and they're super great. They're a nice length. They cut through fabric like butter. Not that I'm ever gonna be cutting butter with scissors. They're amazing. I love them. You don't need them. There's great scissors out there. I've also got these ones from FISKARS. FISKARS is like a scissor brand. You know, they're like these kind of like ergonomic handle type things, you know, so you don't get carpal tunnel. These were great. I used these for a long time. They just kind of got dull and I don't have any sharpening stuff around, and I just thought, get a nice pair of scissors. So I bought these bad boys. But yeah, you can get cheap ones pretty easy that are just as good. Don't feel like you need the quality stuff. I'm just doing this all the time, so it makes sense for me to get it. But yeah, honestly, I wish I had more to tell you, but yeah, that's pretty much all my supplies. It's always good to have basic things like, you know, measuring tapes and pins if you do get a cork table to make your life easier. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much what my space looks like that I'm working with. It's a little messy, but you know, I'll clean it up over time when I get responsible. It's a great space to have and I'm blessed with it, but I hope you see that it doesn't really take too much. If you have a home sewing machine like this one that I showed you, and you have just a little table space, it could be a small desk where you can just lay some cork out on top, that's perfect. Initially, when I was in the city, I was in a small corner in a tiny apartment in Brooklyn, and I just set up a little bit of a table. Like, I set up a small table, and whenever I needed that table to pattern, I took this thing off, put it away. Whenever I needed to sew, I put it back on the table, and I just made my space work. That's a lot of what fashion is making your space work, because you always wish you could have more of it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll keep you updated on my show episode when it comes out, and any other things that I'm doing. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions about other fashion tips or whatever, please comment below, but I've got a lot of cool things coming up. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see everything. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being patient. Like and subscribe if you want to do that and, you know, chill with me for a little longer. That'd be cool. And thanks guys, and goodbye. I'll see you later. Just gonna exit like it's an elevator. That was weird.